What's your take on it, David?
It's look at no matter what sport or context you come from in Ireland, from an Irish perspective, the Liam Miller story is very sad. And what I think the emotive part of it is that there's nobody that's really saying this is right. It shouldn't be allowed. But I do have to say, if there's rules, there was opportunities in the past, and as you said back in 2016, to mitigate against certain situations like this. To say let's open up on a single basis. You know, everything is approached differently. But for an occasion like this, benevolent fund for Liam Miller, it's disappointing from an Irish context, whether it's rugby, soccer, GAA, or you're not involved in sport, that it's not. But I have to say, I do see the rules are rules, stipulations are stipulations, and Congress needs to overturn this decision. There's no Congress coming up, unfortunately, in the next few weeks. Would it be the best decision for Croke Park to say, we got, not that we got it wrong, and it's not the Newbridge scenario again, but again, it's all emotional. And again, the PR is not positive towards Croke Park. And it's just another bite out of the institution that it is, and it's unfortunate. But the rules are the rules, and it's hard to just say we just go day by day and change what's stipulated in Congress, what's stipulated in the GAA rule book. And
well, just on that, Keys kind of cites the actual rule here, and I do wonder if there's going to be a loophole here, because Rule 5.1a, that prohibits the use of property for any games other than those controlled by the association, which of course kind of suggests that the foreign sports, or not in conflict with the aims and objects of the association. So I don't see how this would be in conflict with the aims and objects of the association. In fact, I would have thought that the GAA hosting a Liam Miller charity match for the good of the community in Cork would be right within the remit of the GAA. This is exactly the values that the GAA was founded upon, about supporting the community, about being the spine of the community. The Liam Miller charity match is a key part of the Cork community, and only a little over 7,000 people will get to view it. Tickets are on sale this morning. You suspect it is going to sell out in Turner's Cross. That's your, not a loophole, that's the reason why this thing should be hosted in Páirc Uí Chaoimh. And you're right, it's a potential PR disaster for the GAA, but you'd like to think that they're not thinking about the PR element of it, they're thinking about doing the right thing. Yeah,
and look, we'd all want, and the guys in Croke Park would like to do the right thing. And I know they're probably saying it wouldn't be great to have, but at the end of the day, you have a rule book, and the rule book is stipulated and changed from Congress to Congress. And if they just, I don't think anyone in the, because there's a lot of rules that people like to change overnight, but they can't. And unfortunately, this is one of them. Now, I don't know, when's the Rugby World Cup?
2023.
So that was going to be changed the next.
Yeah, that was voted. So that's actually interesting. It's interesting that you mentioned that, because Colin Keys mentions it here as well. The 2013 motion at that Congress was carried by 93% to permit the 2023 Rugby World Cup to be played in GAA grounds. Now, granted, it's different because it was on a temporary basis, but only 23% voting for Rule 42 to be carried essentially in other grounds is a very small turnout. It's a very small yes vote for that. Why is that, do you think? Is it just kind of controlled? There's some paranoia going on?
Again, and let's be straight, it's probably the soccer versus the rugby aspect. The history and tradition of soccer emanates from a close neighbour in England who was the enemy for a long stage, and that's not the way it is now. But there's still a certain it still resonates to a lot of people, where rugby is seen as just a diverse worldwide. It's still soccer, I think, is unfortunately seen as a memory of the past, and I think that's the difference. And again, people are told. People are told this is good. This is what we want, and it's
a pretty archaic view, isn't it, to say that soccer is
that's the enemy. It resonates from the past, and if it was rugby, now in this situation it wouldn't be overturned. But I do think that Gaelic people have a lot more openness to rugby than they would soccer, which is
the irony obviously behind and wouldn't be overly surprised if what you're saying is actually in the minds of a lot of people voting at Congress. But you just think the irony of it, Englishman Ed Sheeran sells out Páirc Uí Chaoimh. Irish delegates will not allow English sport to be played at Páirc Uí Chaoimh. It's
yeah, and the Bruce Springsteens in this world and everything else.
Like,
you know what? Forget about it. Will be good for a family in a small in a local community to benefit from something that's there already. And again, the Miller family from Páirc Uí Chaoimh will be great for Páirc Uí Chaoimh as well, because it won't be full for another 2 years.
Yeah.
It's only the hurlers that are going to fill it. I don't know what was the lead-in, what was the negotiations with it. You know, it seems to be now the tickets are gone on sale. I think we've only kind of heard this in the last 3 or 4 days. You know, was the right people approached? Probably what, and I think Cork County Board were open to it. But the rule book stipulates that it needs to be Congress. And at the end of the day, the rule book is the rule book, and emotions sometimes can't outweigh a rule book, unfortunately. Now, look, it's not Croke Park is open. You're not going to have it in Croke Park, but could you have something like that? Because Croke Park is open to an opportunity like this.
Like, the thing is that, like, our colleague Darren Cleary outside made a very valid point before coming on air, that who's going to punish? Like, what's the punishment here if the GAA break their own rules and goes ahead with this? Like, what's the consequence here? I'd imagine.
No,
there's not going to be any.
There isn't, but you're setting a precedent. You're setting a precedent, and I know, and you take all the emotion out, but you're setting a precedent. That's whatever is in the rule book is.
The emotion is quite important in this case.
Pardon?
The emotion is quite important in this case.
It's everything about it, because put yourself in the situation. And put me in the situation. You're going. It could happen to any of us, and it's people trying to do a good cause for a good family in a good part of the country, which is a sporting context. Cork is, you know.
And you'd like to think that the GAA would actually feed into that a little bit and help them out and actually
you know
make one little loophole. If
you can't, unfortunately, what's in the rule book is in the rule book, and you just can't change and turn page and tear out a page from a day-to-day basis. In a lot of organisations, never mind just the GAA, but the way the GAA is structured it is probably, you know, the gap between Congress and possibility of changing rules is it's immense, and it's unfortunate, and there's no one in the country that's saying it should be anywhere else but Páirc Uí Chaoimh. Like it's.
I think I get the sense that you're bringing a sense of realism to it. It's like you think it's not going to be changed, but it should be changed.
Oh yeah, and look at it's. See, the whole Newbridge or nowhere thing was the emotive, you know, the wave of emotion was going. We deserve this, and on this context, without a doubt. Liam Miller played for, I think it was Éire Óg in Cork. He was a member of the GAA in his youth as well. But it's the emotive part of it that emotion will get you nowhere in the reality of rules, context, and what's written in the legislation. It's only Congress that can overturn that.